Okay. First is, okay, now we are supplicating to the Gurus, and we are supplicating for blessings. So we are starting from the second part, starting with Allah's. Is it Allah's? Yeah. First we ask blessing not for like longevity, success, more goal scoring, or any of that kind. We are not asking for blessing to go to, higher realms like heaven or anything like that. As a matter of fact, the first blessing we are asking for is so that we will have sadness. Sadness is a Buddha, once when a bodhisattva told Buddha that he had a lot of sadness, Buddha really sort of encouraged him by saying that is wonderful because sadness is one of the noble wealth. But the sadness here, I guess I need to qualify this. We have a lot of sadness, of course, we are all sad. But we all think there is a solution. That kind of sadness we have. Here we are talking about sadness, there is absolutely no solution at all. That kind of sadness you have to have. As long as you don't have that, you still think, oh, this particular problem I can solve. Then, long time ago, I gave the example of 3 strawberries. Almost everything, not almost, everything what we do, our worldly endeavor is like trying to put 3 strawberries on the top of each other without toothpick or glue. It never happens. Sadly, sometimes the second one momentarily sits on the first one. And it gives us the illusion of, thinking that it may work. So, you have to really come to this conclusion that 3 strawberries on the top of each other is just not possible. But what would you do if you are living in a country where you are at a gunpoint and you have to put 3 strawberries on the top of each other? You will do it with a sadness, knowing that it's never going to work, but for the sake of practical reason, I'm doing it. That's how one should be living in the samsara. That's how we should get married. That's how we should have friends. That's how we should have families. That's how we should do business. Really, if you want to practice the Dharma, this is how we have to talk. Yeah. You cannot sort of partially practice the Dharma and partially have a little bit of worldly stuff somewhere in like. You cannot. You have to, either this or this. This does not mean that you have to quit your job or stuff like that. That's another strawberry stacking up. That's actually 5 strawberries putting on the table. You should get married. You should get a job. You should get promotion. You should be successful. You should be studying. All of this you should do. But think all along, none of this is going to work at the end. Because we live in a country or a so-called samsara, and we are at the gunpoint of a system. Many in the past, we are nothing. When forget about the Dharma, even worldly speaking, we are not that successful. What? We have maybe few children to feed, maybe we have a job to attend to. There were great many people like Ashoka, the king Ashoka. He had a country to run. One of the most beautiful story is when Ashoka's daughter and the son. It's so beautiful. To me, it's the most beautiful sort of event. Because, Ashoka was such a great king. And so the son and the daughter, they were such a devout Buddhists also themselves. And they both really wanted to become monk and nun, which means the end of the Ashoka's, dynasty. It's, no more heir, right? So they were so worried. They really wanted to do it, but they couldn't really tell their father, because the father is the previous record of Ashoka is not a good one. So they were very afraid. And then one time Ashoka asked, don't you two want to? Oh no, actually, somehow Ashoka knew that they have that kind of desire. And Ashoka actually was himself worried to ask them. He wanted them to become monk and nun, actually. So they were, both the children and the father, they actually had the same wish, but they were afraid that one maybe the children, the father thought the children don't want, the children thought the father didn't want. But at the end, when they finally communicated, they both became monk and nun. Ashoka's one of his edict in the big stones, one of his command was saying that at the end, there's only one law that is not deceptive, and that is the law of the Gautama Buddha. All the other laws are just, it's almost like a toy, basically. Or maybe I was being too strong. When I say none of this is going to work, I mean at the end everything is impermanent. If it works, if our samsaric endeavor works, it is also because everything is impermanent. That's why it's working. Yeah, so as I said earlier, sadness is not, I think the Trungpa Rinpoche termed this as a genuine heart of sadness. So not an ordinary sadness. The sadness that we have is we think there is a solution, there's a way out, we believe into that, and then because we can't have that, that kind of... Everything should be considered as a toy, basically. Everything. Toy, game. Your husband is your toy. Your relationship with your girlfriend is a game. It's, actually we human beings, to a certain extent, we know it is a game, isn't it? We even, whoever knows how to play, it's all game, because anyway, sadness. We need asking the gurus to bless us so that we have sadness from the depth of our heart. Then we have to make this opportunity or this opportunity worthwhile, worthy. And when we say opportunity, we are talking about basically human life. We are, to begin with, we are human beings. we know much more way to take care of ourselves compared to like animals. And especially those who has been exposed to the Dharma and those who have been convinced by the logic of cause, condition and effect, we have this special, sort of ability to the certain extent to see what is right and what is wrong. And especially if you're not only Tantrian actually, generally in Buddhism, to be human is a big blessing. To be Buddhist, equally worry that you might end up reborn in a God realm, as if, equally they worry, to the worry of being reborn in a hungry ghost or a hell realm. This has lots of elements. It could be also like we are blessed that we are not reborn as a billionaire's child, because opportunity to see the truth is much more when you are not too wealthy. Also, we are blessed that we are not very, very, very poor, so that we have no opportunity to think anything else except, like just food to survive. But mainly, actually, the worldly wealth and worldly prosperity, so-called the worldly wealth or prosperity, are if you are surrounded by that kind of situation, you have less likely chance to see or even wonder about the truth of whatever the worldly life. Okay, so this, for us, for you and me, basically, we are fairly sort of well equipped with this kind of opportunity. We are not too rich, we are not too, like we are not like an animal, we are not being, handicapped in many ways. So this opportunity should not be wasted. Again, asking the blessing so that one can make this opportunity or this precious human rebirth worthy. Okay. One more stanza and then I will let you ask questions. Next, we ask the blessings from the Gurus so that we will have urgency, the attitude of urgency, that constantly thinking so much time has been wasted. There is no enough time anymore. There is nobody on this earth that has lived forever. Myself is also getting closer to the death. So in order for us to materialize so-called the liberation, may we have this mind of urgency. Okay, so rest we will do tomorrow, and you can now ask questions if you want. So I will stop the web teachings now. What is it? Can you ask again? No more now. I think that's enough. Tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So, any questions?
Yeah.
Just a kind of clarification I wanted to, because in our societies we live a lot of sadness and there is a lot of depression. Let's say that depression is the biggest illness, very common in our lives. So here when we speak about sadness, we have to really see the difference between being depressive and close to oneself and being sad about samsara. So maybe we should just, I don't know, because sadness, we just pray for sadness to be born in our hearts. So what kind of sadness? That's the question.
I'm talking about the sadness of seeing the truth of the samsara. As I was saying, that there is no solution. That kind of sadness. Yes. You cannot make the rainbow, for instance, real and stay there, kind of solid. It is beautiful and it is all of that, but it's going to go. In a way, that is a solution. When you can actually accept that, then you are free from all sorts of stress. That kind of sadness we are talking here. Yeah. I think the depression and sadness that we have normally is always thinking that one of these rainbow color will remain. But I'm talking very uncompromisingly with according to the text. But as I said, okay, so the sadness and the depression that we have are very nihilist. Yes, this actually is derived from thinking that there is a solution within the samsara, of course. Now, if, of course, as I said earlier, the solution is to see that this is not real, then you are liberated from the stress of thinking it's real. Then that is no more samsaric way of thinking. Then you are really knocking the door of spiritual path. Basically, you have to think. I think this is maybe a little alien to non-Buddhists and non-Hindus and non-Jain, especially non-Buddhist. The so-called spiritual path from the worldly point of view, is completely useless. Not only useless, it's destructive actually. We have to somehow come to this, really, I think it's important to come to this bravery. And here again, now that we have started, my critical mood is arousing. Because I really am beginning to have a very fishy feeling, right? Fishy feeling. When Buddhists talk about, recently though, Buddhists has been praised for being the happiest people, blah, 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 all of that. Very dangerous, very dangerous. And, then there is like meditation, yoga, everywhere in the spas, in the 5-star hotels, everywhere. Vipassana for the Citibank CEOs. Those makes me worry a little bit because these people think that these people are beginning to use Buddhism as another tool to build the worldly life. That's just not possible. You can do it, but that means that Buddhism is really rubbish. It's something to be avoided even earlier than many other religions that you should be avoiding. Because in this case, you are believing in the construction of samsaric life. Really, spiritual path, especially in Buddhism, I think also Hindu and Jainism, I cannot exclude them. Spiritual path is beyond any of our worldly rationale. But, I think, materialism is so strong that such things are disappearing now. Like when you go to places like India, this is good example. I always feel like that. And like you are going in the train for like 10 hours. Sometimes, 2-3 days you're in the train. And somewhere in the middle of nowhere, you see a gate dedicated to whoever, doesn't matter. That is spiritual. Because it's totally useless. Nobody's collecting tax, toll tax, is it? Going through that. I think in the West also there's many of that, like many great artists. I don't know now, but definitely, there were many great artists who did a lot of things that is for the sake of art or music or dance, performance, I think. Those, I think, are close example for the spiritual path. I think like poetry, just, and especially if you are a Mahayana Buddhist, you have even one extra job. You are not even supposed to look for enlightenment. Take that. That's like, so, you might wonder, so what's the point of having spiritual? I think there's a lot. I think really, fundamentally, it is what makes people really, really free from all kinds of unnecessary stress, doing useless things. I think also, this is what the Bhutanese education people asked me, because in Bhutan they have this happiness and all of that business. So they asked me how to educate the children for the future. What should they do? And that's what I told them, I think our children should learn at least 60% of what they are learning, it should be useless things, like poetry, songs, stuff like useless stuff, which will really make them refine, happy, like that.
Yeah,
But the way I said it somehow, unfortunately, because I was not that careful, the way I said it somehow ruined my purpose. So they thought either I was joking or being sarcastic or something like that. Okay, any more questions?
I wanted to ask about when you pray to a guru. So basically, when you talk about praying, you're talking in a kind of a theistic way. But in Buddhism, because of the view of emptiness, you're not supposed to practice prayer in a theistic way. But then, from my understanding, once there is no dualism, then there is no guru, and then it's become
Very
like you in
good.
a way praying to yourself.
Yes, very good. Yes, that's it. It is actually, ultimately, it's praying to yourself. But right now, I think okay. See, right now there's one challenge we have. The understanding of emptiness or the understanding of the inner guru, the ultimate guru, is only on the intellectual level. So it hasn't really dismantled your net of confusion and habitual pattern. So until you do that, this whining, all that, objective, subjective prayer, supplication is necessary. Not only necessary, it's actually encouraged very much. Yeah, very much. Padamba Sangye, the earlier, Padamba Sangye called these donkey practices, emptiness practices, horse practice. You should always attempt to ride horse, but have many donkeys, right, left, back, front, because when the horse throws you out, you will land on a donkey. you are still going. Many people sort of look down at the donkey and get rid of the donkey, and then try to ride horse for 1 second, throw you, and then you land on the ground. Yeah, this is important actually. Both practice of relative truth and ultimate truth has to come together. Practice of ultimate truth should never negate relative practice. It's very, like Long Chenpa said, if you have never tasted salt, somebody must give you a sugar and say, this is not it. So you have to go through that. Okay.
In the second stanza, it said the source of the two cities.
In the second stanza of the, I see, yeah. Easily, that's common and uncommon attainment.
Can you close the computer so they can see you better, I think?
Okay. Common and uncommon. The common CDs are CDs means blessing, right? Blessing or attainment. So what makes common? Common is things that everybody wants, like longevity, success, communication, whatever. Uncommon CDs is realization, breaking the habit. Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
I would like to ask another question about the sadness. On the one side, in the Vajrayana practice, we are attempting to see everything as perfect, beings and the environment as a Buddha realm, and then on the other side, we are supposed to arise sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this is quite a contradiction. So how I'm going to do that?
Well, should I put this one? You are very right with your confusion.
Äußerst.
Confusion came because of the timing. Things like calling the guru is considered the practice of sort of, it's like preliminary practice, not really preliminary, it's like a mind training practice, like instigator, initiator, one that leads you. Yeah, so it's very, otherwise, the same question can be asked in the Vajrayana. Like the lady asked there, your own nature of the mind is the guru. Why call? It's a bit like that. Yeah. So, gradually first we invoke the renunciation mind, sadness, and so forth. And then, of course, in the actual fact, to think samsara is bad is also a dualistic mind, something that we have to get rid of.
Rinpoche, you said that Tangtong Gyalpo didn't want objects, he just wanted the appearance. Can you say some more about this?
Tangtong Gyalpo. I don't know whether you have heard this word called ziji. Ziji is a quality that outshines. For instance, when the sun comes up, then no matter how much firefly, exudes its light, it's not going, the sun has outshined the firefly. Some people have that ziji. Some people who maybe not so well read, I don't know, not necessarily also good looking or anything like that, but presence, right? They call it presence. He has a presence, he or she has a presence. Presence. Something called magnetizing.
Muss man dann,
Even though he or she is not making any sense, you end up listening to him. Kind of. Okay, it's a little bit like that. Tangtong Gyalpo, because he was a great practitioner of yoga, especially prana and nadi and bindu yoga. And everything that we see inside of us, outside of us, everything that we see, we perceive, is nothing but a reflection of our mind. When you can subdue that, then you subdue everything. But for us, we are subdued. We are seduced, subdued, distracted by the object. For Tangtong Gyalpo, okay, let's put it very simple. For Tangtong Gyalpo, there is no object. There's only an appearance. Yeah, so being controlled, controlling the appearance, not letting the object control you. This actually happens in a very small level to ourselves. Okay. Yes, it's a good example. Like when we when we groom ourselves, right? Make ourselves beautiful. We look at the mirror. And it's so stupid because we think that that's what people will like. It's so stupid because this is what people think they like this. So you're so busy but you are the judge. You're the judge. You are deciding that they will like this. And then we know many times, look at that man with that tie. Goodness, it doesn't suit him at all. But this man has spent hours trying to controlled by an object that he thinks that people will like about him. Kind of difficult, this one to explain. Did you get the point?
Fleeting moments.
Okay.
Not 100%, but I think because it seems to me there are two aspects of it. One is the relative of talking about projection, of course. That how others are going to see us is only ever a projection. We can't ever know, and it's not true anyway. But the other is seeing things as they actually are.
Yes.
Just their appearance is not actually what they are.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes. And really living with that is called magnetizing the reality, the appearance. Okay, I don't know whether this will work. Sometimes when we go with people and we are in a dangerous situation, and maybe one of your friend is quite relaxed and confident, which will help you also. This actually really has so much blessing, this one. This Nangsi Wandu has a lot of blessing. Yeah, you understand that? Yeah. Sometimes some people, we are all panicked, we are all worried, but this person doesn't say much or anything but relaxed and confident, and his or her confidence helps the rest. His is a confidence because it's not that he doesn't know there's problem. Small baby, not worried at all about the particular problem, but we are not necessarily confident because the small baby is not worried. Anyway, the blessings of being able to control the prana, basically, and chitta, mind. Okay, most outer blessing of that is like being able to reach walking from here to London in 2 hours. Because in Thangtong Gyalpo's mind, what is miles? Those are all dualistic distinctions. This is the most outer sort of manifestation. Okay, maybe we are getting hungry now.